Hello there. Good morning. It's Monday morning. All of us are slow to get up today. We're questioning, am I really supposed to be in this job? Is this where I'm supposed to be? We're wondering, would they care if I didn't show up? In fact, Easy and I both had that thought. Should we just not show up for work? Easy.
That's what my pillow was telling me this morning.
Yeah. The pillow was like, don't go. It's fine.
Stay.
Stay. You could just turn off your phone.
Don't go to your 5x5 cubicle and stare at white walls all day with the buzzing sound of luminescent lights over you.
Bruh, I felt that. Oh. So, guys, welcome to the Self-Evident Podcast. It is Monday morning. I hope you have started off your morning well, and you're starting it off with us, so it can't be that bad. Just to let you know, Massey is actually still out of town. He is in Minnesota. We hear the clicks now. Oh, yeah.
That camera angle's
That
bad.
camera went. Show that angle again. This is what professionalism looks like, folks. In Massey's absence, it all goes to pot. So, anyways, let's keep going. Do not forget to check out theselfevidenttruth.com. Check out the blog. Last blog post was something about the whole Sam Harris issue. I don't know if you guys heard about that. I probably have, but Sam Harris had some things to say about comparing Hunter Biden and Donald Trump's Trump University. So the article actually goes into really the vast difference between the two issues and why Sam Harris has really kind of stepped out of bounds. And there's a larger picture at work, but check out the articles. Make sure to comment. Make sure to like, subscribe, share everything you can, wherever you can find it. Leave reviews. Leave those, the 5 stars, and you can do the 1 through 5. Go ahead and do a 5-star for
I
us.
think that's on Yelp.
Well, no, you can do it on Spotify as well.
Ooh, I did
And
not
I
know
think
that.
Apple. I think Apple Podcasts.
I don't mess with Apple. I have an Apple phone, but
Are you a I don't like Apple person?
I am. I like it because it's convenient to have for my phone, not for anything else, though.
Here's the question of the day: Apple or PC, guys? The arguments are started in the
Apple,
office.
you mean Apple or
at work.
Android?
Or, well, I mean, it really extrapolates out, right? You know,
Well,
computers and phones, because Android's just a phone, right?
Well, Android is like the OS system that it uses.
Yeah.
Because iOS is iPhone OS.
Right. But what I'm talking about is like the products. People tend to sit in one of two camps: either all Apple products or no Apple products.
Right.
So my question is: Apple products or no Apple products?
I have a pretty healthy mixture of both because I have like an iPhone, an Apple, like a really old, like 3rd series Apple Watch that I got for a really good deal, and then an iPad from a friend. And that I do like graphic design. I do just like basic research on.
Yeah.
Watch is a watch, and then phone is a phone. Whenever I actually like use the internet, I will use my computer, which runs off of Windows.
Good man.
There's hope for me yet.
There is. It's funny because the arguments have been started in the office, and there tends to be two tribes: Apple tribe and non-Apple tribe. Which we got to come up with a better name than PC tribe. So there's your question. I want you to let me know what you think. You go Apple? Are you part of the wicked darkness, kingdom of darkness, or do you not serve the kingdom of darkness in Apple?
Why do you think in
I'm
every
gonna make the dude guaranteed. Apple people are like, "How dare you? PC sucks.
Apple's the best
Apple's the
because of
best.
this, and this.
You're just corporate greed."
You know what? I'll admit, Apple is significantly easier to use, but that's only because you can delete Apple applications. Like you can delete the applications that come on your phone, like
True.
the iPhone or the company brand applications that you get on your phone. You
Yeah.
can't do that with Google,
That's true.
which is kind of obnoxious.
Android will only let you disable the core group of apps, which gets really annoying.
Right.
And they you want to hear a stupid story? So this podcast is already off the rails. Thank you so much for paying attention. If you're still here, but you're going to hear a stupid story from me. So my phone kept collecting data, right? And I don't mean like collecting data from the internet, just files. And my storage space was shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I would go through my phone and I would delete all these pictures, I'd delete all these files, and it kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So what is going on? I've had this phone for probably going on 2 years now, maybe a little bit more. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I figured out that when I delete files, they get put in the trash can. They don't get permanently deleted. So I had hundreds of files in my trash can.
Oh my gosh.
That when I clicked that little button that emptied out that trash can, all of a sudden I gained like 5 gigs on my phone.
Whose idea was that?
I don't know. But it drove me. I went to Melissa. I was like, this is stupid. I pressed delete. Just delete it. I don't need a trash can to hold it forever.
Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous. The fact that it takes up more space having to delete it than it would actually having it.
Well, and the crazy thing was there was no indication on the phone that, hey, here's the trash can. Don't forget you've got all this stuff sitting in your trash can.
Right. It's
the
like
trash, like on a Windows computer, you've got your little trash can in the corner.
You got the
can
recycle bin.
Yeah, you can see the files in it or if it's empty. None of that on this phone. That trash can was hidden down in the recesses of the phone. And I had to dive down deep, happened to come across it and, found the treasure that is empty trash bin.
Oh my gosh. And this is why you go Apple, Mike.
No. I think, and I'll get into the topic in a second. My big issue with Apple is, and I've had this conversation with other people, there's no job set out to set up a dummy-proof system. Sure. But he also set it up so that you couldn't mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
We designed it the way we want it. We don't want you touching it. We don't want you putting your own flair on any of it. So it's like, here's your product. You can't mess with it.
Yeah.
What I appreciate about PC is there's a lot more customization that's allowed in the whole process. And there's a lot more, if you know what you're doing, you can get into the processes of the computer and, whereas Apple is a lot more like, boom, for the general consumer.
It's very much like our product is easy to use, but that's because there's really only like 2 to 3 ways to use it.
Right.
And some would argue like there are those things that you can do to like make your wallpaper or lock screen or whatever match all the app icons on your screen. But I have no clue how to do that. I know like 5 people who've done it, and the way that they did it looks absolutely amazing, and it looks like something that you could get for an Android phone.
Yeah.
But it's so unbelievably difficult to do.
Which it should be like right click, highlight, click, done.
Yeah, that's what I thought it would be. And then I looked into doing it because I wanted to get like a cool like black and red color scheme for my phone. And I never did. So as you can see, I still have a default back lock screen and a default back wallpaper.
Oh, gee. Oh, I'm sorry.
So
yeah. I've got mine.
You got a palm tree.
Yes, I do. I actually took this picture. I want you all to see this. This was like, I was proud of this photographic moment with my cell phone. It was lunchtime. I was still roofing and I was laying on the ground looking up at the sky, existential crisis moment. And I love palm trees and I saw this palm tree. I was like, I'm going to take a picture. And it turned out really well. I was like, that would be a perfect wallpaper.
I can just imagine you being like, oh God, how is this gonna? Ooh, palm tree.
Pretty much. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't want to. I can't. Oh, tree. So, oh, I don't want to get into this. Do you guys? Do people want to get? I'll tell you why. Let me tell you a story first, because I'm really just avoiding this topic because it's not fun. So, I was telling Elijah yesterday. I was having a really hard time working on the podcast topic. There are times where there's just not much going on, or all of it just, when everything just looks a little gray. It was one of those moments looking out into the world. And I was thinking, I just don't want to cover current events. I don't want to cover doom and gloom. I don't want to cover history. I don't want to cover lessons. I don't want to do any of it. I told Elijah, it was like, I just want to have a goof off episode. That's what I want to do. Because I think all of us are inundated with all this bad news. It's just ramping up everywhere we look. And you get to a point where it's like, I just want to escape a little bit. I will tell you how hard I escaped yesterday. I went over to a buddy's house. We watched the movie Aliens, like the original Aliens.
With
Sigourney Weaver.
Dude,
that movie has stood the test of time.
It really has.
It has truly stood the test of time. And the funny thing is, and he and I were talking about this, I don't like CGI.
No, it's terrible.
It is. I would show me models, show me miniatures, show me little creative scenes, show me puppets. Right? I get it. The aliens in the movie move kind of weird. But it still, to me, stood the test of time versus something like I use the example episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars.
Oh.
Prove me wrong, right? Like,
good stories, bad execution.
But so thank you. I'm so glad you agree. Like, movie has stood the test of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And an actual actor was in the suit of the alien. And
right.
Something really cool I found out yesterday in the original Jaws movie.
Yeah.
When I think his name is Hooper, the guy with glasses, when he goes down into the shark cage and Jaws ends up banging up the shark cage, he was supposed to die like he died in the book.
Right.
But instead, a real great white shark ended up getting tangled up in the cables of the actual shark cage, ended up completely damaging the shark cage, and then the stunt man ended up swimming down. And in order to keep the really great footage of the shark struggling with the shark cage, they had to record the stuntman swimming down and swimming away instead of Hooper dying right there.
Oh.
Because the stuntman was scared for his life, so he ended up just swimming away.
Which I don't blame him.
Yeah, but that's so good. That's like, you don't get that from CGI. You don't get genuine, like, natural footage like that.
Some of the best parts in movies are those improvised parts. The perfect story to your and we'll get back into the CGI realm. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. They were running out of money. They didn't have money to end it. They didn't know what they were going to do. So the way they ended is like, we'll just end this. Like, literally, like, what was it? The cops or whatever come up and arrest them and pull them out, end the set.
Yeah.
This is over. This is over. They ran out. They just did not have money to finish the movie. They didn't know how they were going to finish it. And they're like, we'll just shut it down.
That's what makes it so great. Because it's already a really funny movie. It's so different from what's normal.
Perfect ending for the movie, too.
Oh my gosh.
This is Self-Evident Podcast. We're now a movie review podcast. That would be kind of fun.
I actually was telling who was I telling this to? I was telling someone that there have been no good movies to actually go out of my way to spend money and watch in the big theaters.
I think probably the closest thing. Now, I have not been to the movies much because I'm kind of the same way. Top Gun was probably the closest.
I
me.
haven't seen Top Gun. I've heard really good things about that.
And the reason I say that gets back to the CGI argument, and I think both of us know, most of you probably know, Tom Cruise was adamant about as little CGI as possible. And I'm so thankful to Tom Cruise for that. All the Scientology stuff aside, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the guy can act and he can produce good movies, right? Top Gun, I'm so thankful to him that he understood what the consumer was looking for. He understood it. They're sick of CGI. They're sick of stuff that doesn't have a gritty realism to it or a rawness to it.
Right.
They're sick of stuff that doesn't uphold their values, or at least not insult their values, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to just escape into a good story, you know. And there can be debates all day long about whether the Top Gun story was a really good story or not. I think it was a good story. I think the movie was entertaining. It had suspense in the right areas, right? And it's kind of like, it's one of those movies where you knew how it was going to end, but you still enjoyed the ride getting there because there was enough suspense and question built into the whole thing.
Yeah, and just because you know how a movie ends doesn't mean you don't know how it gets to that point. And it's always fun to just ride the ride just to see everything that happens along the way.
Right. You know, there are those movies that totally throw you for a loop and they have their place. But yeah, for the most part, like when you start a movie, you kind of have an expectation of how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Hero's going to win. Good people are going to win. You know, everything's going to turn out all right.
And
for the most
you
part.
know, when Hollywood was originally founded, there was this whole like checklist thing that every movie had to pass.
Right.
It was like something along the lines of the good guy always had to win. There always had to be like good morals put in place. And oh my gosh, this was in retaliation to, I want to say, the Chinese filmmaking industry, because they were doing something very similar, just a lot more strict. And we had to kind of like really push for good films.
Yeah.
But
and did you hear that China required the ending of the new Minions movie to be changed in order to be released in their markets?
no.
So in the original, I think, and correct me where I'm wrong. And guys, hey, post the movie that you feel stands the test of time. That's what I want to know. And if you're listening on podcasts and you're still with us, God bless you. I find our Facebook, right? Self-Evident Facebook, Self-Evident Ministries. Find our Instagram, find something, find this YouTube video and comment, what movie do you think has stood the test of time, right? And I think that's important. A movie where 30, 40 years from now, it's like, ooh, that's good. And China, and then I'll get to that test of time because I got an idea on that. China, so in the original Minions movie that just came out,
Right.
I believe what happens at the end is, you know,
spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler alert. I don't know if this was what I read. Two of the bad guys walk into the sunset type deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, which, hey, how much of a spoil really is that? You know, you're not going to kill off Gru, you know, or are they? And so in China, it harkened back to the idea that used to happen in Hollywood with the religious committees of no bad guy could go unpunished by the end of the movie.
At the end of the day, he's still a villain.
He's still a villain.
Yeah.
Well, China, I guess, had similar standards for this Minions movie. So like one of the characters got like 20 years or something, and the other one reformed his ways or something like that.
What?
Yeah, I was reading. It's like, wow, China, you're 1940s America. But I love that. Like, if the article is correct, that one of the punishments China felt had to happen in the movie was 20 years hard labor,
because they have to not only punish their real citizens, they have to punish their animated citizens as well.
Oh, this is what you can expect if you come and you minion raid. You go 20 years hard labor. Here
Okay,
you go.
that whole minion raid thing though was hysterical to see.
What? Oh, the minion raids.
The
Yes.
fact that people would not only go into
Okay, Phil,
movie theaters.
15-second fill in the listeners of what you're talking about.
Okay.
Because a lot of people probably don't understand what you're talking about.
So due to the popularity of Minions Rise of Gru, we're not sponsored at all.
Yeah, no endorsement. You make your own choices. We're just talking commentary about a movie.
Right. People would flash mob movie theaters, malls, wherever there was any kind of cinematic place, wearing suits or
Like a
really,
business suit.
like very
Nice
well
suits.
dressed, like tuxes and
Yeah.
dresses and whatnot. And they would completely like buy out movie theaters, completely like buy out every single seat. And it would make the movie theater a lot of money, but
Right.
people who actually wanted to go watch the movie with their family couldn't do it.
Capitalism.
But it wasn't just the movie theaters that got it. I would see videos of people like going in or wearing those big inflatable like minion costumes and wearing them at the gym, or wearing like Gru masks and costumes at the gym. And I saw a couple kids at my gym wearing that kind of stuff, and I was like,
that's cool.
only at this brand of gym.
And they were like in the theater, they were like massive ovations and like throwing bananas at the screen or something, right?
Something like that. I've heard like the massive standing ovations.
Yeah,
and just clapping.
I think because you started to see theaters posting signs on their doors saying that, if you're too well dressed, or if there's a large group of you won't be you won't be allowed.
They
that
would
kind of thing.
refuse service,
right?
Which is hysterical.
They were refusing service to these groups, and I think that's why it was like, okay, if you come in and you sit down and you enjoy, and other people can come in, whatever. But they were massive standing ovations at weird parts, and throwing bananas at the screen or something. A little bit of raucous, but I do enjoy the trolling nature of the younger generations.
Yeah, like it's funny to see that there's still very much people. I hear people always say, I wish I grew up in the 80s. It was so much better back then. No, it wasn't. We had the Cold War. We had so much more racism than we have now. We have like a million other problems that we would be dealing with still.
We had Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
The 80s should be banished just for that alone.
Well, there was the whole crack like epidemic or whatever.
We went from Crystal Pepsi to crack. We made quite the progression in one step. I want to thank you, Elijah, for taking this to a whole new level.
That's what I'm here for.
Now, yeah, I was born in the 80s, and I can't stand the music. I can't stand the fashion. I can't stand any of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure there are people, the 80s were amazing. That's because you came of age in the 80s.
Listen,
I didn't come of age in the 80s. I came of age in the 90s, which I enjoyed the 90s.
Regardless, if you wear a pompadour that's bigger than 1 foot tall, there's a problem. There is a massive problem, and it is not the pompadour.
There you go.
God, where was I going with this?
I hope people have something else going on while they're listening to this.
I hope
because
so.
It's been one angle for the past 20 minutes.
Folks, we're just trying to have a little fun.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to get to the topic, which maybe that's a good thing.
I think being serious though, like it's good to be aware of what's happening. It's good to be focused and keep Christ first in everything, and keep your life Christ-centered and Christ-anchored. And sometimes you really just kind of need a mental vacation.
Right. And I think I'm at that point. And maybe you guys are too. And I hope this is a bit of a mental vacation for you of let's just talk. Let's just talk.
Yeah.
I needed to make this point because I know you were starting to get serious, and I can't allow you to do that.
Dun dun dun.
So movies that stand the test of time. Immediately, what I thought of that people will disagree with me on this, and that's fine. And it's not the reason that you think. Blade Runner. Did you ever see the original Blade Runner?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I would get super lost, and
Yeah,
it was a very abstract idea to me.
that's why I respect it as a movie. I respect what they went to do with the
Right.
movie. I respect other people who think, no, it's great, it stood the test of time. And I'm not talking about the technology and all that, because aliens, my buddy and I were talking about this with aliens. It's like, isn't it funny that how they, because you obviously can't project what's not there, but the technology, right? Like they're in space, they're hyper travel, all of this, and it's a like green and black computer screen, text only format. And
Yeah.
towards the beginning, like she was sitting on a park bench and there was a big massive screen that was supposed to make it look like she was in a park, this way of like tricking your mind into I'm in a park.
Mhm.
And she shuts the big screen off, and you know how the old cathode ray tube TVs would like the screen would
They like
swoop?
collapse.
Yeah, it would collapse, and there was this like the big major screen did it. And I turned to my buddy, I was like, we haven't, because obviously they didn't understand LED TVs and all of that, right?
Right.
Or LCDs. I'm like, we have a much better TV sitting in our church right now.
Yeah.
And that TV was on that space station in the future, right? But so back to Blade Runner, it's not that mash of like, oh, this is future technology, but really it's 1980s technology that's there.
Mhm.
Even the special effects, great for the day. Yeah, you can tell, okay, that's a miniature and a screen or whatever. But it was the storyline to me that it felt like there was something missing through the whole storyline that I don't feel holds up over the test of time.
Mhm.
And it great concept. I just don't know that they delivered fully on it. But I was just thinking of that, of like movies that have stood the test of time. I think storyline's important.
Absolutely.
So,
And you can even have movies that have massive plot holes, and I'm talking like Jurassic Park. So in the original Jurassic Park, you have the T-Rex cage, right?
yeah.
You see the goat.
Yeah.
They're like sitting right out in front of the T-Rex cage while it's
I know where you're
raining.
going with this.
The
yeah.
goat's there, and then it's gone, and the T-Rex breaks out. You can see the land very much level, if not a little elevated.
He like steps almost down into
Right.
out of the
He's-
paddock or the I know
He
where you're
steps
going.
out, and then as soon as they're trying to escape the T-Rex, the very place that the T-Rex walked out of, there is now a massive divide, and
Right.
there's like a massive just drop off.
Now all of a sudden, when the truck's getting pushed over the barrier, it's like a 20-30 foot drop off
Yeah.
where there was no drop
And
off
there's like
before.
a massive tree, and for some reason there are brontosauruses off in the horizon. Like, what is happening? Like, they just got completely teleported away from where they originally were.
That makes me think. Did you see the last Star Wars, the last Jurassic Park?
I did
The
not.
most recent?
I've heard decent things about it. I've heard that the director's cut, which was the cut that the director initially wanted to go
Yeah.
out, was a bit better.
So here's my problem with it. I get so tired of callbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I get so tired of movies that all they are is just one massive callback.
Yeah.
Because what you've told me is you have no unique storyline left to write.
Stars.
Yes, thank you. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you said it. So now
No,
you've
I'm gonna
opened the
say
door. The
Yeah.
number 7, I was so mad when I walked out.
Mhm.
I was so mad because you just gave me A New Hope 2.0.
Yep.
That's all you gave me.
Yep.
There was no unique nature to it. The Death Star thing was just bigger. It was a planet.
That blew up other planets.
Down to how they destroyed it, right?
Yep. Oh, there's a weak spot, and you got to shoot a missile, but it's really difficult.
tiny.
But you got to knock the shields down
Yeah.
first. So you got to go to this other planet and knock the shields down.
And then you can get it, right? Like, I wish, self-evident, I had the budget to start producing movies, TV shows, entertainment, culture, to start wiping away all of this junk that's been shoved down our throats.
Oh yeah.
They ruined the Star Wars franchise to me. And the problem is they keep trying to recapture the magic. And I'll say this again and again and again. Lord of the Rings is a perfect example. They're coming out with a TV show now. You will ruin it. Matrix 4, you will ruin it. Why? Because it is so unbelievably hard to recapture the magic. It's the magic is a time and a place. There's just something about that time and place of when that movie or that production comes out that makes it what it is.
Yeah.
And then you get Hollywood that tries to recapture the magic, and they failed 99% of the time. I think one of the few where they were actually able to kind of recapture the magic, and this sounds stupid, but go with me here. Incredibles 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They 10 years later, right? So things kind of wash away. They got the original cast. The storyline was good.
Longer than 10 years,
right?
I think it was like
it was 10 years or something, I think.
But it was 16.
Storyline was good, but they were able to recapture the magic. And it is so rare. I get so tired of, we're coming out with Matrix 17. Money grab, you know? And that's something where just let it be.
Yeah.
You know?
14 years.
14 years ago. See, you were right.
14 years. I remember because there was like this whole meme when the main antagonist in the first movie says, too late. 15 years too late. And then the movie ends up coming out almost 15 years later.
That's, yeah. So I dude, if you want to become a torchbearer,
yes,
and help support us, I would love for us to be able to start getting into that realm. And open call. If you love creating film, you love creating production, sketches, whatever, you love writing, you love music, you love art, let's get you involved. So reach out to us. I want to see Self-Evident get into the culture wars, right? I think that's the space that conservatives need to be going.
Yeah.
Conservatives for so long have just tried to regulate the culture. We haven't tried to own it.
What I hate is that there have been no good faith-based movies.
Now, finish your point because I have a point.
I was going to say, like, the last movie I remember coming out that was relatively close to faith-based, other than like Passion of the Christ, was that Noah movie. And that it was so
bad.
It was so terrible. It was so over dramatized, if that's even a word. It was, what happened was Hollywood got a hold of it.
Right.
Hollywood got a hold of a biblical, historical story and decided to sprinkle their little Hollywood magic on it to completely change it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extremely difficult to watch because not only was it false, it was an extremely weird take on everything that happened.
Yeah, and that's I heard the Moses story with Christian Bale was kind of the same way. I don't remember what that movie was called.
I forgot.
Somebody in the comments remembers, but I never saw that one because I heard that one was a really bad take on it too.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I don't trust Hollywood with any Christian messages. You're going to screw it up because you don't understand it. I think Christian movie producers and Christian TV show producers are getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was trash for a long time because they didn't feel like they could talk about real topics, and they had to put the shine on everything. Everybody had to be good-hearted, clean, kind. You know, it's like,
which is
tell me real.
It's put a false a false title, a false label on Christianity now,
Right.
because that's what the world thinks Christianity is.
And I didn't see The Chosen. Everybody who, if you're a fan, you're a fan of The Chosen, right?
I like it. I don't like the fact that this is going to sound a little off. I don't like the fact that the actor who plays Jesus Christ is a practicing Catholic.
Some Catholics might question you on that. That's go ahead. I keep interrupting you.
No. You can go ahead.
Well,
I have nothing.
I do think you are speaking to something that some people have a problem with. Is the Mormon Church was very invested in that whole project, and so give or take, we haven't talked much about The Chosen. I haven't seen it, but what I do hear about it is the acting and the production is really, really good.
Absolutely amazing.
So, which gives me hope, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a great story, good production, and great acting. And I do think Christian productions are starting to get to that level. But it's like, why did it have to take us so long? And this is what I don't understand is Christianity used to be at the forefront of creation, of art, right? You had the Beethovens, the Leonardo da Vinci's, the Michelangelo's, like, at least had some understanding, respect of God, and at some point we're creating in a sense of like trying to understand the eternal,
right?
Trying to understand the spiritual, right? The Sistine Chapel.
I was just about to say that. It's
right?
So beautiful,
right? The Last Supper. That type of creation. Where is that now? What do we have? We have vulgar, nasty, or just absolutely nonsensical crap.
Dude, I was literally, so I was on social media.
Oh.
I know. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this there's like this page that will call in musical artists, have them like kind of sing their lyrics and talk about what their song meant. And there was this girl that was just like laughing and like yelling and then just started talking super weird. And I was like, anyone can be a musical artist these days, as long as they can yell into a mic, have somebody put a little bit of auto-tune into their voice so that it doesn't sound like nails on a chalkboard.
Right.
Anyone can make music, which is disgusting. And it terrifies me because I don't want my future kids to have to deal with like all of this garbage,
right?
That my generation, that the generation before me is pumping out and pushing out and pushing upon the masses.
And that's, you look at like the top 40.
Yeah.
What kind of lyrics and what kind of songs are you getting? And it really is a conditioning, right? That music isn't meant in traditional values. That music is nowhere near meant for prepubescent kids, right?
Right.
Or even pubescent kids. It's not even meant for adults. Come on. Like, do we really need to be listening to that? And that's something like, okay, how often is it that something is meant for an adult but not meant for a kid? And you can't go like, should it be meant for an adult?
I feel like
is it necessary?
I remember the most vulgar music at one time that was specifically made only for adults, but caught a lot of like young adult, like teen attention because of how hype it sounded and how like college it sounded, was Pitbull. Pitbull was very much like for a certain amount of time he was like the most vulgar like artist out there because he would talk about going out and partying and having sex and blah 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 blah. And like if you listen to Pitbull, you were either like a heathen or like the really cool guy,
right? Which that whole standard of being a rebel,
right?
I think, and I'll give a plug. I'll give a shout out. So I had turned you on to Tim Pool's podcast, Timcast IRL. if you want to hear some interesting conversation for an hour and a half, like surrounding current events and all of that, and some interesting ideas, check it out. Timcast IRL. Shout out to them. And he he is a culture warrior. He's one who's like, we got to get invested in all of this. Like, we
Yeah.
got to start fighting this battle. He doesn't even consider himself a conservative, although he's painted as a conservative a lot because, hey, he tends to line up with a lot of, what we espouse, right? And he's really getting his feet wet in the music side of things
I
because
noticed that.
music is trash. And so I encourage you, like, if you like rock, if you like alternative, check out his new song. I don't know what you're gonna have to tell me what you're laughing about, but check out his new song. What is it? Only Ever Wanted.
Yeah, I think so.
Check it out. It's not horrible. It's a good song.
Yeah.
I think
It's
a good
better
song.
than, I'd say, 70% of the
Yeah.
music that's made. But
Right. And at the
saying
very
that-
least, support somebody who's trying to create quality content, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not dogging. Like, I really do mean it. Like, I think it's a good song, right?
Yeah.
I give him all credit and respect in the world. He's doing better than I could. I'm kind of the type of, like, I like a little bit different flavor and flair in my music, but
Right.
it's good. Listen to it, So I think his Will of the People is a better song.
I haven't listened to that one.
You need to. It's a cool message, and the artwork is really good in the music video, but the message is basically like this cycle of revolution that happens. Because one person gets oppressed, and so they grow up to try and counteract that oppression, but they end up becoming the oppressor.
Gotcha.
And there's this cycle. Sorry, what were you?
That's pretty cool. No, two things. I really push for one of my close friends. He's super. It's Kyron. You know him. I really push for him to continue doing music because he does great music.
Yeah,
he really does. And the thing that's so different about his music and everybody else's music, what I've noticed is the fact that these people, like him, are passionate about it. They pour their heart and soul into these songs. Like, they genuinely care about what they're producing, whether or not they're producing is going to attract ears, or even if what they wrote, what music they made, if they actually want to send it out and let people know that they are like, they struggled with this, or this is like what they went through in life. And I've heard a few songs that he hasn't released, and he's an absolutely talented artist. So I continuously push for him to pursue that more and more. But I was having a conversation with ex-producer Croft yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if you're listening.
Shout out to Croft.
Shout out to Croft. We miss you.
No, we do. I love Croft. I really need to have dinner with him again. I miss the kid. Anyways, sorry.
When are you gonna have dinner with me?
I see you twice a week, at least 4 times a week. Him, I see once a week if I'm lucky. So there. Anyways,
okay.
You're having a
Point
conversation
taken.
with him.
Yes. So we just had lunch yesterday, and
why was
we were. Do you like Taco Bell?
No, but
That's
I wasn't invited. I didn't get the chance to say no to you.
Anyway, we were talking about different music genres, and we came across one that we had determined was possibly the worst musical genre in all of existence, and that was hard pirate rock. Because there's so, if you look at it at its surface, it's like, okay, like it's reverse of how music is these days.
Yeah.
Like, you have like some good songs on the surface, but then once you look past that, it's nothing but, no pun intended, but a sea of just utter garbage and utter like profane, just terrible music.
I'm going to have to check this out because I didn't know this existed. Hard pirate rock. Because what I'm thinking of is like orchestral soundtrack with
No.
heavy, but this is like
No.
okay. This is your mission, everybody, is to check out Hard Pirate Rock
No.
and let Elijah
No,
know
don't
how you feel
say
about it. Because I'm going to go to work and I'm going to check this out because I need to know.
Let me find the song real
Yeah,
quick,
we'll
and I'll show
we'll
it
talk
to
about
you.
it after. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it after. So we're gonna. I think we're gonna end this here. I'm not gonna get to the topic because I don't want to get into this, and we're already at something like 40 minutes. So
45.
there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this conversation about nothing. I was telling Melissa yesterday. I was like, I just need a Seinfeld episode. I need a Seinfeld episode, which is the whole term of that is like an episode about nothing.
Yeah.
That's really what everybody claimed Seinfeld was. And so I hope you guys got to just relax a little bit and enjoy the thoughts and enjoy the conversation. I want to do a little bit more of this. We're still self-evident, right? We're still coming out with the topics we need to, the things we need to talk about. But I think every once in a while, I just want to give you guys a break from the world,
Yeah.
from everything collapsing in. But what I will say is stuff is going on, and that's the moment to increase your faith.
Mhm.
And that's the moment to rely on the Lord, because as things get more difficult, thankfully, you will have less and less other places to turn than the Lord. And that's not a bad thing. But you have to gird up your faith now. You have to step out and start thinking about where are you going to look, right? Are you going to look to your bank account, to your job, to your family, to your house, whatever, as your security? Or are you going to look to the Lord? And are you going to hold that faith through everything and say, Lord, all I can do is trust in you. All I can do is rely on you, and watch him work, right? And we'll get into more of this stuff next time. We'll talk more about life as we know it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you got something out of it. I hope it was just fun to relax and hear a couple of guys chat about movies and music and all of that. So leave in your comments. Leave in the comments. What movie do you think has stood the test of time? That's what I want.
What was your answer?
I think Aliens has.
Aliens?
That wouldn't be my only one, but I think Aliens definitely has.
I would say the original Jaws.
Jaws, original Jaws. Good
Yeah.
pick. Good pick. What do you guys think? I think Massey would probably say It's a Wonderful Life.
Never seen that movie.
You need to. It's one of his favorites, especially around Christmas. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he would say. But what would you say? So until next time, guys, we love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do not forget to check out all of our stuff, theselfevidenttruth.com. Go buy yourself some merch. Become a torchbearer. Whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever you feel good to give, what you feel the Lord's put on your heart, it helps us get where we're going. It helps us produce new content. It helps us upgrade. We have some things we really want to do to help bless you guys, but the funding needs to be there, and we run a tight ship. we don't run a massive budget, and we want to be able to expand a little bit. So check that out. Pray about it. We would love to have you start donating. And to all of our torchbearers who already donate, thank you so much, guys. We hope that you feel your money is well spent. We're always trying to minister. We're trying to move out there. We're trying to get the truth and the word out into the spaces that need it. So till next time, guys, love you so much. Have a great day.